Platform is a misleading word that represents so many different business models and peculiarities. Still, with our platform thinking approach, we want to stress one key message. Platform logics can be a tool to foster innovation. If you're working in an established linear value chain company, you are already working on a platform. We created the platform thinking metrics to summarize the strategies to foster innovation through platforms. Platforms can create and capture value through two different strategies. Platforms can sell a matchmaking service through what we call a transactional strategy, generating and leveraging bidirectional cross-site network externalities. A typical example here can be Booking.com. At the same time, we have seen how platform can sell the effect of the aggregation of users on one side to another side, exploiting what we call an orthogonal strategy. This kind of strategy differs from the previous since it relies only on unidirectional cross-site network externalities and can be translated into two different approaches. Client as a target, leveraging the first-site eyeballs as in the case of newspapers, and client as a source, leveraging the first site's ability to generate data, as in the case of Strava with Strava Metro, providing data to municipalities.
Platforms can grow through two different logics. They can exploit sites that are already on the platform, which means that they join for another reason, but now they are part of another piece of value creation and capturing. This can be the case of Spotify, using data gathered from the listeners to create Spotify for artists. While in the other case, platforms can grow through an extension, which means enlarging the platform and welcoming a new site on board. That's what Uber did, creating Uber Eats, welcoming the restaurants to the platform. This creates a 2x2 matrix with four different strategies. Transactional exploitation. A new transaction is generated among players already on the platform. Transactional extension. A new transaction is generated, bringing on board a new site. Orthogonal exploitation. An orthogonal kind of relationship, client as a target or client as a source, is generated among players already on board of a platform. Finally, orthogonal extension. An orthogonal kind of relationship, client as a target or client as a source, is generated bringing on board a new site.
These strategies represent how to move and what to do to introduce a platform-based innovation. They are a useful way to read what successful companies did and even a possible tool to identify what we might want to do when thinking about our next innovation step in a platform-based world. For each quadrant, we identified various tactics. It may not be a comprehensive list, but definitely a good starting point. Let's start with transaction exploitation quadrant. Service enlargement. The platform provider decides to enlarge the services it offers to the sites already in the platform, enabling new possible transactions. This is the case of eBay adding the Buy It Now functions to the original Action service. Platform Gemini. The platform provider decides to enlarge its business by offering a new platform, relying on the relationships already established with the existing sites. The new transactions take place on a new platform, meaning a dedicated brand and access. This is the case of Amazon creating and proposing Prime Video as a standalone service. Let's move to the transactional extension quadrant. Supply-side addition. The platform provider welcomes on board a new set of customers as a supply side that aims to offer something to the demand side. This is the case of Airbnb that welcomes on board experience providers with Airbnb experiences. Demand-side addition. The platform provider decides to welcome on board a new set of customers as a demand side that aims to receive something from the supply side. This is the case of Deliveroo that welcome on board businesses creating a line for events and hotels with Deliveroo for businesses.
Moving to the orthogonal exploitation quadrant, we find supply-side advertising, also mentioned as transactional advertising. The platform provider decides to exploit the matchmaking service happening between two transactional sites by offering an additional service to the supply side through a client as a target strategy. This means that customers on the supply side can pay the platform provider to have a sponsored link while looking for the match with the first side. This is the case of Booking.com, that enables hotels to have sponsored positions when travelers look for a specific destination. Site-oriented e-ethnography. The platform provider decides to exploit the data gathered through the services by offering one of the sites an additional value-added service through a client-as-a-service strategy. This is the case of Spotify creating Spotify for Artists, that offers artists to have insights on how listeners enjoy their music. Platform-oriented e-ethnography. The platform provider decides to exploit the data gathered through the service by relying on them to better understand how customers enjoy its products or services in a client-as-a-service strategy. This means that the organization that runs the platform can enjoy data-driven insights, discovering something on end users' behaviors that may influence how they develop other products or services. This is the case of Nike, that considers insights coming from Nike Plus in their product development process. In the end, we see the tactics for the orthogonal extension quadrant. Advertising. The platform provider decides to welcome an orthogonal side to capture the value embedded on the demand side by selling their eyeballs in a client-as-a-target strategy. This is the traditional case of advertising that we discussed with a Google case search engine or even with the newspapers. Enhanced advertising. The platform provider decides to welcome an orthogonal side to capture the value embedded on the demand side by selling their eyeballs while relying on the data gathered during the service delivery. This is the case of Instagram, that relies on data to offer an advertising service to selected eyeballs. Data trading. The platform provider decides to welcome an orthogonal side to capture the value embedded in the data gathered through their service delivering, using a client-as-a-service strategy. This is the case of Strava, that sells data packages gathered through their biker tracking service to municipalities with their service Strava Metro.
What is the right new step? How can we understand which of the identified strategies or of the many we have not identified yet is the right one? That's up to you, relying on your platform thinking mindset. This is just a support tool that can help you see the alternatives that you have.